What's up, y'all?
What's up?
What up? What's up, guys?
Tiger, stop.
Happy Thursday. Today we're going to talk about some new cannabis news that's exciting. I feel like we got to keep up to date on it since we're such a cannabis friendly community. Shout out to Ageless Clothing for the shirt. Design is sick. I'm already sweating because it's 110 degrees over here. So the first thing I want to talk about is the fact that Amazon will start selling weed. Okay. So they approved it like 2 days ago. So it employs nearly 1.3 million people. And this knocks the legs out of the prohibitionist fable that people who enjoy weed on their own time can't be healthy, happy, and productive workers. Yes. So it also raises the specter of Amazon post-legalization eating the cannabis industry's lunch. The idea of Amazon Prime drones dropping weed on America's front porches doesn't just scare old-time prohibitionists, it sends shivers through cannabis retailers too. So this is from Beard Bros Farms. Shout out to him on IG because he always posts new cannabis news. So basically, Amazon has been drug testing for cannabis use. But now they're saying that they no longer will include marijuana in their drug screening. They're only going to test for drugs if they get injured first. So this is, huge because everyone's now going towards more of a cannabis-friendly workspace. But the fact that Amazon's going to sell weed, that's just fucked up for all the delivery services and obviously all the distributors. So I'm not sure how if they're gonna sell weed and be partnered with dispensaries or what they're gonna do. So let's look in here.
Tiger, get out of there.
Welcome in. We're in cannabis news today. We're talking about how Amazon just approved selling weed. So now they're not testing their employees and they're going to sell weed. Shout out to Ageless. Got the shirt on. Love the design. Just looks like me. Let me know where you're at, what city, if cannabis is legal there, if you guys can smoke freely or if you get in trouble for it. I remember I got arrested for weed in Jersey and it was so excessive. So I was driving, I was hammered from the club, but I was like 5 minutes from my house. So they gave me a DUI like walking test. I passed it with flying colors in my heels, whatever. Thank God they didn't breathalyze me. But then they started smelling weed because I had just put my blunt out in the car. So they bring the dogs out. They're like searching the engines. They're thinking like that I'm like El Chapo and shit. So they told me that they have to search my car because it smells like weed. And I had like edibles in there at the time, like pens. And this was like back before Jersey even knew what those things were. So I was the plug for those, and they didn't know what any of them were. So the cops saw all the vapes. They left them in the car. I guess they thought they were nicotine. And they saw my edibles, and I still had the label on them. So they got me for those, and then they got me for this like little fucking roach that was in my car. So they take me to jail. I sit in jail for 4 hours because of half a blunt. And the whole time they're coming down, trying to talk to me, asking me what these are. Because again, nobody in Jersey has seen these things. So they're like really trying to, figure out what it is. I just told them to eat one and see how you feel. But I got charged. Well, they tried to charge me with possession in a motor vehicle, possession of like CDC, narcotics, fucking all this different shit. So it took me about a whole year to get that case dismissed for a half a blunt in Jersey. And now it's legal in Jersey, and they're having a cannabis festival in August, which the Mendo Dope Boys are playing at. Shout out to the Mendo Dope Boys, because I will be there, and we will have a live interview with them in Atlantic City in August for the Cannabis Festival. So the growth of how it was so stigmatized to now it being legalized to where they're having festivals and they're educating people on cannabis, I think it's just amazing. So we were talking about Amazon starting to sell weed, and what is it going to do for the cannabis producers now, the dispensaries, the delivery services, anything. Because they legalized booze on Amazon. So that just takes away from anyone going to the home mom and pop liquor stores and getting their liquor. And so the MORE Act is how they even started to pass this, which we were talking about the MORE Act on a couple different shows, but mainly on the one who was one of the partners for Digital Venture Partners that was basically going into these places and trying to establish the MORE Act and get it, passed faster. So the MORE Act, the Marijuana Opportunity Reinvestment and Expungement Act, decriminalizes marijuana at the federal level. So it removes substance from the Controlled Substance Act. It requires federal courts to expunge prior convictions. So you have expungement, resentencing of all federal marijuana offenses. So, I mean, this is like a number one thing, because how many people are in jail for weed? And then how many percentage of those are black people for weed? So this government has been trying to keep this down and uses as excuses to keep people behind bars, when literally there's people in there that don't even need to be in jail. They sold a fucking gram and they've been in there for 10 years. It's fucking crazy. So the MORE Act would allow all these people to get released as well. 5% tax on sales to create opportunity trust funds. So the fund services for those impacted by the war on drugs. And, the war on drugs was how, everyone got into it. Everyone got into coke and then the crack, and then turned into a reason for everyone to fucking hate each other. Prohibits denial of federal benefits due to marijuana use. So enact strong non-discrimination protections. So I think most places now are, you don't drug test for weed. I mean, if it's legal, you can't. So I moved to Vegas like 3 years ago. And when I moved here, I didn't know anybody. So anybody that I did know told me that it was a hair test for the casinos. So I smoked my entire life. So I'm like, all right, I got to stop smoking for a couple months to pass these tests and get this job. Because I was moving out here with no job. So I get here, I'm like fucking 5 months sober off weed. Worst fucking experience. And I go to this place around here because it said that weed stays in your hair for like a year if you're a heavy smoker. So I was like, oh, like it's definitely in this bitch, right? So I'm like, I gotta go diet. So I got this number to this lady, this hair salon here that does detoxing, and they charge like insane money to strip your hair. They guarantee that you're gonna pass a drug test. So I go and do it. Mind you, I have like 6 hours in between. I get my like letter to say, here, go take your drug test here. I have to be there by like 5, but I had to get my hair done, which takes like 5 hours. So I'm literally like rushing to the drug test place, because if you miss it, you fail. I had like hair dye still, like you could see it everywhere. I had to take my shirt off, and I was in my sports bra because my whole thing was covered with dye. So I walk in there looking crazy as shit, can't even brush my hair. Stop. And it ended up being a piss test. So I bleached my hair for nothing, ruined my fucking hair for like a year or 2. And now it looks healthy, but this shit was fucked up. So, moral of the story, no one drug tests for weed in Vegas if you're trying to get a job. And no one drug tests for it if it's legal in their state either, I don't think. So that's some good news. It's just crazy that the stigma of weed is so heavy, because I think if it didn't smell, that people wouldn't give a fuck as much. Like if it didn't smell bad. So wherever you guys are at, let me know if weed is legal in your state, if you're still waiting for it. I know my partner Memphis said you can't even, you're still going to go to jail for weed in Memphis. So they don't play. Whew, it's hot as shit. So that was our cannabis news for the day. However you guys choose to use cannabis, congratulations. I think for me, it's more of like a medicine to keep me focused and honestly just keep me a little more off edge. So I feel like I have so much to do in a day and I have to dictate so many things that I get annoyed really easily. But if I'm high, it doesn't really matter. I'm like, yeah, whatever. We got this. But shout out to Ageless Clothing. Thank you for the shirt. Still can't fit in that other shit you gave me. Shit like fucking latex. Cheers to everybody. Cheers to all the stoners. I hope you guys are using cannabis for productively or just when you actually want to be not productive, which is fine. So we're going to stay up on the cannabis news. I'll let you know when new things come out. I'm just so excited to spread the news because cannabis is now taking over the country. A lot of states are now legalized or just at least medical, which is the first step. Then we got to get rec. We just got to get federally legal. And we can pay off the whole debt of the entire country, but we'll see how that goes. Until next time, peace.